Clark recognizes the voice on the phone.
Ultra, the mad scientist who seeks domination of Earth.
There won't be a single steamer docked on your line. This time tomorrow.
I've given you the money. Why don't you let me go?
So that you can live to talk? I've been expecting you, Superman.
Here I am, stuck with the Lovelorn column.
Clark places the men in the drowning pit.
Don't do it! It's murder!
Hello, and welcome once again to the Almanac Comicopia, your guide to the spectacularly confusing and delightful DC Universe. Today's video wraps up our episode about Superman's 1939 adventures. Indeed, we have 3 stories left to close out this year. Our last dailies serialization by Shuster and Siegel, our first Sunday strip story by the duo, and of course, an issue of Action Comics, number 17, which is first up at bat. After our typical half-page splash informer, the story opens with a frantic operator aboard a failing steamship signaling an SOS.
The Clarion, its engines crippled, is burning in the midst of a terrific storm at sea.
Take a look at this top beautiful panel here. Meanwhile, over at the Star, they tap into the SOS comms, leading us to Clark's arrival on the scene where
He finds the Coast Guard about to swing into action.
You mean they're going to try to reach that steamer in that raging sea?
sure enough,
The men row lustily, but in a matter of minutes the lifeboat is overturned, swamped, and a dozen brave men go to a gallant, watery death.
Clark was unable to save them. If only he was wise enough to arrive on scene as Supes instead of Clark in the first place. His incompetence persists, and so does my disdain for this version, the original version of Clark Kent. In the panel below, we see him diving into the storm in an attempt to reach the Clarion. Beautiful work from Shuster and their colorist here.
Nature's unleashed fury, pitted against the strength of one man. But what a man! Stronger than the howling winds and battering waves that seek to drag him under, Superman valiantly battles his way on.
Until he does indeed make his way to the Clarion. In the passengers' panic, they cannot comprehend their first taste of the Man of Steel, with one claiming,
It's a ghost!
Stop it, you fools. Collect your sense. Stand still. Listen to me.
"Out of my way! I'm jumping overboard and swimming ashore!" Shortly thereafter, Clark manhandles the problematic passengers before turning his aggression on a sailor, who informs him the captain is injured. Boy howdy, this issue's kinda crazy. Check out Clark's narrow squint and popping veins.
Since the captain can't take care of this situation, I'm taking over for him. Get that? I'm taking charge. And my first order is for every able-bodied man to volunteer to battle those flames.
Hilariously, the crew and passengers consent to his demands. Finally, in a spit of wisdom, albeit born out of sheer frustration, Clark rushes in with the fire hose to deal with the problem himself. Great texture on the smoke. The art in this issue is particularly good. I have to say that Shuster is carrying Siegel hard on this one. As one disaster ends, another begins, with a panicked crew member informing Supes that
The ship struck some rocks and sprung a leak. We'll sink!
Of course, Clark easily dives into the storm and seizes hold of the ship's rear, beginning to push it forward. Clark manages to beach the ship on some rocks, prompting this incredible shot of some Coast Guards shooting a rescue contraption out to the boat. This is one of the best panels I've seen in the Golden Age. The story's far from over, though, with Clark now approaching Editor Taylor.
I'd like to visit the Clarion's wreck this morning. There may be a possibility of more news.
Aboard the wreck, Clark and some investigators discover large quantities of flammables in the ship's hold. Sabotage.
Excited by his discovery, Clark hurries to the main office of the Deering Lines, owners of the Clarion.
I tell you, no one can see the general manager. He is not in.
We'll see about that.
Is this laziness on Siegel's part? Because In a shocking moment, as you see, Clark risks exposure as Superman, or at least something other than normal, when he lifts this man way above his head, busting into the general manager's office. Clark goes straight to the point.
I've just learned that the Clarion was a victim of sabotage. Have you a statement to offer my newspaper?
The GM frantically pleads with Clark not to print anything of the sort, on the condition that he will reveal the truth to Clark, and Clark not print that either. The man goes on to explain that the Clarion was the 4th victim lately, but the company has kept it quiet. To make matters worse,
An unknown gang has contacted us, demanded $5 million, or they will continue their evil work.
that's a hefty 115 mil in 2024 dollars. Then, conveniently, the gang calls the man, who, thankfully, allows Clark to listen in. In another interesting turn, Clark recognizes the voice on the phone, but cannot quite discern who it is. Immediately, Clark uses his willingness to lie and do whatever he pleases to whomever he pleases to dial up an operator and claim to be conducting.
Important police business. Trace that call that just reached this number.
What an unbelievable moment, both for its gall and for how smart of Clark this was, and I do attribute this to the character and not Siegel being smart himself. Most curiously, the operator tells Clark that no call has been made in the past few minutes. This spot of technological wizardry and the familiarity of the voice help Clark realize
Only one person could have accomplished the miraculous scientific feat of telephoning without using the telephone company's lines. Ultra, the mad scientist who seeks domination of Earth.
Suddenly, 2 men on the street are all over him, telling him
Keep walking, buddy.
You're not a beep, are you?
they throw Clark into a vehicle and begin working their fists on his face while he feigns injury. They throw him out of the vehicle after a stern warning to stay away from the Deering line. In a matter of seconds, Clark discards his clothes to reveal his Superman garb and begins approaching and then quickly overtaking the crook's car. We know what's gonna happen next. Oh, just kidding! No smashies this time for us. Clark brings the automobile to a nearby skyscraper's roof before hopping off, leaving them to solve their own situation. Hilarious. Eventually, the gangsters make it back to the good old Ultra-Humanite, in the midst of complaining about Superman. This pressures him into feeling as if he needs to expedite his timeline, and so he calls the Deering Line general manager once again.
The time has come for you to deliver the $5 million. Send a messenger to 211 Court Avenue at once, or there won't be a single steamer stacked on your line this time tomorrow.
In a nice reveal,
Hanging by his fingertips outside the window, Superman's super hearing has enabled him to hear the conversation.
Superman then trails the driver to Ultra's hideout. After the handover, Ultra's men seize the delivery man.
Hey, I've given you the money. Why don't you let me go?
So that you can live to talk? No, I'm not that stupid. Eliminate him.
But then, Superman bursts through the wall to prevent the tragedy.
Arrived precisely at the moment I expected you. For a man possessing super strength, you show an amazing lack of intuition. I've been expecting you, Superman, and I am prepared.
The Ultra-Humanite has a powerful solvent-coated bullet to deal with Clark. And furthermore, as a precautionary measure, he's erected
A panel of transparent, unbreakable metal.
Yet, the Ultra-Humanite's technology is no challenge for Clark.
Bracing himself for the coming shock, Superman hurdles himself against the invisible barrier with all his might and succeeds in shattering it. As Superman's hands reach out, they pass through Ultra's figure.
What? Then it wasn't Ultra who was here after all, just a projected image of him.
The story ends with Clark at the office, typing up a story himself about the knowable events from his end. This was a pretty good story. I would recommend you read this one. For reasons outlined in previous installations of this episode of the Almanac Comicopia, we'll be skipping both Action Comics number 18 and number 19. In 18, a senator is blackmailed by a femme fatale type who's conspiring with a corrupt journalist. Superman eventually deals with the entire situation, and in doing so goes as far as destroying the corrupt publisher who is cooperating with the two, and then exiling the mastermind of the scheme. Kinda intense. In number 19, whose cover is shown, a mysterious purple plague begins killing citizens, which prompts Clark Kent to investigate. Turns out, the Ultrahumanite is behind it all. At the end of the issue, he seemingly dies via electrocution in the final confrontation. Most curiously, it's an associate of Clark's who successfully stops the plague, not him. In any case, let's move on to the Shuster and Siegel stuff. In between these adventures is our final dailies serialization by Shuster and Siegel. Pour one out. Its name is Underworld Politics, promising us some intrigue, I hope. Note that starting now, the Daily Star has been retconned to the Daily Planet, and I highly doubt it is ever diegetically addressed. Our story begins with Editor Taylor sending Clark to the county jail, since the DA has ordered the roundup of all known criminals in a bid to stay honest with his campaign promises. When the political boss, Mr. Hennessy, arrives, the reporters are quickly shooed out. The next strip is mostly filler, with the audience learning that the DA is sincere, and they see him dismiss Hennessy for coddling criminals. Clark catches Hennessy motioning to his man on the wings, and with X-ray vision spots the would-be murderer's intent. As lickety-split as he can manage, he exits the skyscraper before bounding back up as Superman. Meanwhile, the DA is about to become the Dead A. With perfect timing, Superman arrives, interrupting the hoodlum's plans. Under the cold gaze of the gun, Clark just grins.
Pardon me, Finger, but I just can't help laughing.
Funny, am I?
In the next strip, Clark catches the bullet easily. Helpless before Soups, Finger McGurk empties his pistol and throws it at Clark, before the latter cracks him with it like a mace. After terrorizing McGurk, Superman gets the confession he's looking for. Superman has already fled the scene by the time the DA's co-workers enter. Upon doing so, they discover that
Big Mike was our contact with the law. For a percentage of our take, he'd square anything.
now we cut to Lois, scalding mad over another Clark Kent scoop.
Here I am, stuck with the Lovelorn column, while Clark gets the juicy news assignments. I'm gonna do something about it. I'm sick of writing sentimental pap. I demand a chance at the news.
Little girl getting bored.
Ew, gross. What happened to Clark feeling bad? And what is this? This is a stunning reversal. Editor Taylor is the lesser pig of the men.
Tell you what I'll do. Bring me an interview with Big Mike Hennessy, and I'll switch you to reporting.
As Lois arrives to make her interview request, Superman is not far behind. She finds herself wondering if Clark was perhaps joking back at the office. No, he's an ass. Then, suddenly the door opens, a man is booted out, and the door is promptly shut afterward.
It's Bob Stern of the Morning Pictorial.
Don't tell me you've come to interview Hennessy.
Yes, why not?
Don't do it. The guy's crazy with rage. He'll slug you for sure.
The door's open. I'll probably get my neck broken, but here goes.
Superman is observing all of this, by the way. Lois overhears voices from
within a nearby room.
You're a fool to come here today. What if the newspapers found out that Butch Morgan, notorious gangster, was here?
Unfortunately, Big Mike catches the sound of Lois's footsteps, and she's promptly confronted. Lois states outright she's just there for an interview. While Big Mike's telling her to get lost, she spots Butch's shoes behind the curtain, prompting her to egg Big Mike on a bit further.
Aw, come now, Mr. Hennessy. Give a girl a break.
Unbelievably, she manages to skirt around him and pull back the curtain to reveal Butch. She exclaims about what a great story their meeting's gonna make and attempts to leave, prompting the men to resort to violence.
What'll we do? If we let her go, she'll squawk. We won't let her go, and she'll never squawk. I get it.
Wow, Butch, you must be really low on brain cells. Since Soups has been watching, he busts in now to save the day. Superman tails them while they make their way to the cellar, within which they reveal a drowning pit? Holy shit!
Let me out. I won't talk.
Shut your mouth.
Lois's voice, below.
Lois gets chained in the pool and the water is rising. However, Clark is able to dispatch the crooks in record time.
Believe me, it's a pleasure to take you two on.
With Lois saved, Clark places the men in the drowning pit, while Lois protests.
Don't do it. It's murder.
I don't think he cares, Lois. When the men start to protest, Clark offers up paper confessions for them to sign. He claims that upon doing so, he will let them go. However, the men doubt that Superman would actually drown them and refuse to sign. Thus, Clark and Lois depart. In the next strip, the men realize their predicament. They begin calling out for Superman, who rapidly arrives with Lois. Then he has all parties sign the confessions before pulling them out of the water.
My collar. Careful. You're choking me.
Sorry, I haven't time to be polite.
After Lois phones in the police, Soups tries to leave, but she stops him.
I want to talk to you.
Make it quick.
In the next strip, she says she's never gotten to properly thank him.
Saving your life, charming lady, is a pleasure for which I desire no thanks. And there's too much to do for me to linger after my work is done.
But who are you? Where do you come from? And where do you go?
I love this. Asking the real questions, Lois. And thank you, Jerry Siegel, to letting her ask these questions. Clark even stays to admit that he doesn't know from whence he came, and then departs. Finally, we see that Clark really was goofing on Lois, albeit in an overtly cruel way, when in this moment he thinks to himself,
Since Lois will be reinstated on the news staff if she turns in this scoop, I'll pass up the story.
In the rest of the strip, the sergeant and co. arrive to find Lois with the tied-up crooks and their confessions. Towards the end of our story, we see this cute moment with Lois celebrating.
At last, back on the front page.
I'm glad, Lois. For your sake. There's your story. How does it feel to be making history?
Grand!
However, in a shocking twist, much like it was for the real world, when Lois looks at the paper, she discovers the front page scoop is about the war in Europe. Her scoop's on the inside page. This does mean she'll get her reporter status back. Hooray, Lois! But, being the kind of person she is, I'm sure she is more concerned than anything else. And now, concluding our long year of Superman's 1939 adventures is this Sunday strip serial, 24 Hours to Ruin. The story opens with Clark saving a man from intentional murder by vehicle. He leaps up to a hotel sign to have a chat with the man.
I'll fall off.
No, you won't. Tell me, why did those men try to kill you?
I'm Mike Hensley, operator of a small logging business. My powerful neighbor, Lem Marston, must have hired these gangsters to kill me. He's determined to annex my property by fair means or foul.
In their talk, it's revealed that someone stole Hensley's payroll funds, and he cannot get work done without paying his workers. Furthermore, the bank hasn't been willing to grant him the $5,000 loan he needs in order to do right by those workers. Soup tells him to go to the bank at 2 p.m., and so later we see.
Sorry, sir. Your plight moves me, but that still doesn't warrant my giving you $5,000 in cash. But I've got to have that money, I tell you. Oh, I was a fool to come here.
My gosh! Clark just strong-arms the bank, literally lifting the safe and saying,
Nice bank you got here. It would be a pity if anything happened to it.
The strip ends with a suspenseful reveal. One of the tellers is friends with Marston. He reports that Hensley secured the loan, prompting Marston to remark he won't even make it back to his logging camp alive. Holy, conveniently, Clark decides he's got nothing better to do than help old Hensley, so he tails him back to the camp. Thus, when some gangster rams Hensley off the road, Clark's already there to make the save. Funnily enough, this strip ends the same as the last one, but with Marston's stooge being Hensley's own foreman. That same traitorous foreman orchestrates the felling of a tree to squash Hensley. But once again, Soup saves the day. Seemingly, Soups is crushed by the tree, by the way. Later, Clark reports back to the planet, suggesting that there's a story down at the lumberyard. He gets threatened by Marston upon arriving, but when he reveals he's pressed, the tone changes.
Wow, that's different. Oh, Nita, here's a reporter. Wants to give your old man a write-up.
I'd just like to look the camp over for background color.
Right before Marston consents,
One of the laborers jostles him warningly.
causing him to change his mind once again and dismiss Clark. On his way out, Clark spots the traitorous foreman on his way to Marston's camp. Spying on them, later as Superman, he discovers their intent to sabotage the log train Hensley is depending on. Spying from a tree, the branch Superman perches on snaps, drawing the attention of a bear, occupying precious seconds of Clark's time, during which the saboteurs begin enacting their plans. However, Clark's
Steely muscles stand out like taut cords as he catches the falling train with upthrust arms.
Clark then immediately sets his sights on the foreman, planning to rough him up for info, presumably. Up in the air, Luke the foreman reveals.
All I know is that Len Marston is mixed up with some foreign spies.
Then, Clark deposits Luke at Marston's camp. In the same strip, after some time, Marston and his men storm Hensley's territory, setting it ablaze. A whole
Hour later, as Hensley's men battle the flames valiantly but hopelessly, the Man of Steel appears.
It's no use. I'm ruined. Ruined! What can even you do against these flames?
Watch and see.
His hands flailing like pistons, Superman uproots trees and ground like a steam shovel running wild, until he clears a wide swath of open soil so that the flames cannot penetrate further into Mike's territory.
Wowee! Our introduction to Super Breath. I'm floored! I had no idea this was gonna happen in the Golden Age. Anyway, Clark stands still for a moment.
Swallowing a terrific intake of air, Superman blows toward the fire with a hurricane ferocity,
altering its course. The drama doesn't stop, though, as the final panel of the strip shows Hensley's men under sniper fire. Clark takes drastic action, uprooting the trees for some reason. The snipers aren't shown in the trees, or falling out of the trees. Anyway, the story ends with Clark forcing a confession out of Marston and Luke, then dipping out. Besides the first use of Super Breath, this was a huge nothing burger of a story. Definitely pretty to look at, though. Woo! After 430 slides, split across 4 videos, nearly 5 hours of content, there we have it. A full chronological play-by-play of Clark Kent's first full year of adventures as Superman. Notably, we've been introduced to some of his powers like X-ray vision and super hearing, and we've seen some movement in his relationship with Lois. But by far the most interesting part of these adventures was the introduction of the Ultra-Humanite, an actual and recurring supervillain. By the by, since Shuster stopped working on the books for the most part in 1940, our next video about Clark's remaining pre-Justice Society adventures will be much shorter than this 4-part series. You can expect that video in about a month. Then, we'll be doing our series about Batman, with some special guest additions on top of those we've already had. Speaking of which, this episode of the Almanac Comicopia was brought to you by me, Troy,
Rachel!
our resident narrator,
Dan Pugh here. Read more comics.
our very lovely Superman,
Slower than a speeding bullet, less powerful than a locomotive, unable to leap practically at all. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's me, Sam Katz.
and that's about it, folks. I hope you had a wonderful time with us today, and you are considering reading some comics. Perhaps not these, but some. Toodaloo.